What is Novorossia? Novorossia is a land between Russia and Ukraine, New Russia or New Rus. In a word, its lands lying to the north from the Black Sea coast, which were made a part of the Russian Empire after Russian-Turkish wars in the second half of the 18th century, and very soon developed by the efforts of people closest to the Empress Catherine II. The first name to remember among them was famous Grigory Potemkin. From the very moment of appending those lands to Russia, His Grace proved himself as a talented manager, as it would be called now. His domain included inviting settlers, founding new Russian cities and towns, planting forests and laying out vineyards. Besides, sericulture was encouraged there in all possible ways. Schools, factories and printing houses were established and shipyards were built. All this was carried out on the largest possible scale following the spirit of Peter the Great's transformations. Potemkin, whose headquarters were situated in Kizlyar at that time, nowadays Melitopol, didn't spare any means, often his own, on this new for him business, and neither did he spare any people, himself included. During the last quarter of the 18th century, the Russians eventually developed all settlements, such as Kremenchuk, Slaviansk, Kharkov and others, and founded new Russian fortresses and towns. In 1775, Krivoy Rog was a post office station on the river Ingulets between Kremenchuk and Kherson. Since 1784, it became the center of a viceroyalty. Ekaterinoslav, initially called Novorossiysk and nowadays Dnipropetrovsk, was founded in 1776. Kherson, a town in the shipyard, and Pavlovsk were both founded in 1778. In 1779 appeared Mariupol, and Sevastopol in 1783, and Simferopol in 1784. In Nikolaev, a shipyard was built in 1789, and soon it became the center of Russian shipbuilding on the Black Sea. Then Odessa was founded in 1794, and many other towns. Besides, there was steadily continuing the active development, started in the time of Peter the Great, of the Sea of Azov coast and Donetsk plains, in particular, territories that much later became a part of Donetsk. Donetsk itself appeared in 1869, when a metallurgical plant and a village of Yuzovka for its workers were built in the vicinity of the village Alexandrovka. It was there where Alexander John Hughes, from whom came the name of the new village, founded the Novorossian Society of Coal, Iron and Rail Manufacturing, while in the vicinity of the villages of Kameny Brod and Vergung there was established a cast iron foundry, which would become Lugansk in 1795. What was going on in those years fitted perfectly well within the current administrative reform, which resulted in the administrative territorial division of the Russian Empire, in which appeared so-called viceroyalties, and, therefore, there was laid the foundation stone of such future southern and Russian provinces as Novorossiysk, Tavria, Ekaterinoslav, Nikolaev, Kherson and Kharkov provinces. Interesting data about the population of the Ekaterinoslav province in the 18th century can be found in the Digest Military Statistical Review, published in St. Petersburg in 1850, in the volume 6 dedicated to the province mentioned above. Even in the time of Peter the Great, to maintain the border service, they were called Serbs and Hungarians, who were considered the only troops suitable for the light cavalry service at that time. Under Elizabeth Petrovna, Serb immigrants were settled between the rivers Lugan and Bakhmut. Later, there was formed a military settlement out of Hungarians, Poles, Malorossis and Russians. Under the Empress Catherine II, there was settled a Moldavian Hussars regiment. Besides, lands were granted to immigrants from the Crimea, Greeks and Armenians. Later again, there appeared foreign immigrants, the Cantonists. At the same time, the authors of the digest pointed out that the dominant part of the population of that region was composed of Slavs, namely Malorossis, Velikorossis, Serbs and Poles. Among other nations, there were mentioned Wallachs, Germans and Jews. Under Catherine the Great, Lugansk became the administrative center of the Slav Serbian county of the Ekaterinoslav province. In the 19th century, a part of this land would enter the Voronezh province and the region of the Don Troop, while at the same time the territory of the modern Donetsk region had been a part of the Bakhmut county of the same Ekaterinoslav province, and of the region historically called the land of Don Troop since 1786. The region of the Don Troop existed from 1870 to 1918. In the second half of the 1880s, the head of the Statistical Committee of the Inner Affairs Ministry, Peter Semyonov-Konchansky, divided the territory of the Russian Empire into natural economic regions, according to which Ekaterinoslav province, together with Tavria, Kherson and Bessarabia provinces, composed Novorossia region. Meanwhile, Kharkiv, Poltava and Chernigov provinces composed Malorossia economic region. Kiev, Volyn and Podol provinces composed the southwestern region. The time when both Donetsk and Lugansk, lands that would make Russian Donbass or the heart of the empire, would have a special role in its history was still ahead of them. In the time of the revolutionary hardship and civil war on the territory of the modern Donbass, there were consequently created several states within this Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic. It was Donetsk-Kryvyi Rog Soviet Republic that existed from March to May 1918, with the center first in Kharkiv and then in Lugansk. The territory of the future Donetsk region was at that time a part of the Donetsk Soviet Republic, initially Don Republic, with the center in Rostov-upon-the-Don, and in May 1918, after the Don Republic had been abolished, a part of Donbass lands, the future Lugansk and Donetsk regions, joined the territory of the unrecognized Great Don Troop, the center of which became Novocherkassk. Donetsk-Kryvyi Rog Soviet Republic, including former territories of Kharkiv, Ekaterinoslav, Nikolaev and Tavria provinces of the Russian Empire, was in fact a forced counterbalance to the bourgeois Ukrainian People's Republic, created on the territory entered into the history of Russia as Malorossia, and including lands of the former Poltava, Kiev, Podol, Volyn and Chernigov provinces. In March 1918, the Donetsk-Kryvyi Rog Soviet Republic joined the Ukrainian Soviet Republic, but in December 1918, Donetsk was included in the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic. Because of its specific, namely coal mining, salt production, cast iron foundry, etc., Donbass had always been more economically developed than traditionally agricultural, industrially underdeveloped Malorossia. So, according to the leaders of the Ukrainian Soviet Republic, it was economically justified to include Donbass in it. Therefore, industrial Donbass was to draw to its level Malorossia, also called Ukraine, falling behind in this respect. On the 5th of February 1919, by the decree of the People's Commissar's Council of Ukraine about creation of Donetsk province, Lugansk became the administrative center of the Donetsk province until November 1920. Then it was transferred to Bakhmut, modern Artyomovsk of the Donetsk region, by the decree of the People's Commissar's Council of Ukraine of the 12th of October. In December 1919, Donetsk province was included into the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, and then, after abolishing Artyomovsk, Lugansk, Mariupol, Stalin and Starobesheva districts, it was reorganized into a region of the same name, the Donetsk region. It's worth noting that the administrative affiliation of the region was a matter of dispute between the Ukrainian SSR and the RSFSR until 1923. In 1938, the Donetsk region was divided into Donetsk and Voroshilovgrad, now Lugansk, regions within the Ukrainian SSR. During the years of so-called independence, after 1991, Donbass was actually neglected. It fell into decay, and being once prosperous, suddenly turned into a subsidized region. Due to all this, it becomes quite understandable a desire of the nowadays southeast population for economic independence and apartness from Kiev, that can't even guarantee the citizens of the newly formed Donetsk and Lugansk republics personal safety and the right of speaking Russian, that is the mother tongue for 85% of the Donbas population nowadays. In the current circumstances of the so-called anti-terroristic operation, which is, as a matter of fact, an euphemism for the civil war, started by the Kiev temporary authorities supported by oligarchs and provided with military assistance from abroad, against their own people, the republic's further staying within Ukraine is totally pointless and simply impossible.